Hi, welcome to Virtual CB1A. This is Miss Rena, and for today's video discussion, we are going to talk about reasoning with properties from algebra. You're already familiar with some of the properties that we are going to discuss, especially these two, addition property and multiplication property of equality. So many properties from algebra concern the equality of real numbers. Several of these are summarized in the following list. So we will start with the assumption that there exist three real numbers, A, B, and C. So pagka sinabi natin addition property of equality, so ang sinasabi lang nito, if you add a certain number C on the left-hand side, and you also added a certain number C on the right-hand side, given that the two numbers A and B are equal, then the resulting sums are also equal. So, lagi nga natin itong ginagamit, di ba? So, say for example, we have x x minus 5 is equal to 7. So, here, we have x minus 5 on the left-hand side and 7 on the right-hand side. If we want to get the value of x, we can use addition property of equality. So, paano natin siya gagamitin? So, from x minus 5, we are going to consider this value negative 5. Since we are only looking for the value of x, we can add 5 on the left-hand side so that negative 5 will be equal to 0 na. Since we added 5 here, we must do it as well on the other side of the equation. So we will end up with 7 plus 5. Here, we will end up with x na lang. And then for the right-hand side, we have 12. Now, for the next property of equality, this is actually the same as addition property of equality. So we have subtraction property of equality. But on other books, bihirang-bihira ma-mention, tsaka sa higher math, bihirang-bihira ma-mention si subtraction property of equality because it is just a derivative of addition property of equality. So here, kung halimbawa meron kang lagay natin dito si subtraction property of equality naman. X plus 5 is equal to 12. Bawa, ganyan naman. So, the subtraction property of equality states that in order for us to make this 0, the number that we want to eliminate, we have to subtract 5 from both sides. And if you subtract a certain number from both sides of the equation, you will still end up with the original equation. So, ito, parehas pa rin sila ng value because 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. X will then be equal to 7. Ano lang yung nagiging indicator nung property na ginagamit natin? So, ang indicator lang ay yung operation na ginamit nyo for adding or subtracting a certain number from both sides of the equation. So, sabi ko nga, itong subtraction property of equality, hindi natin siya madalas ginagamit na term, though lagi natin ginagamit yung process. Ang tawag din natin dito ay addition property of equality because you can also represent it this way, x plus, and then you will be adding the inverse of your real number to be eliminated. So, ang real number na kailangan natin i-eliminate dito ay 5. So, you are actually still adding a certain number, but this time, it is the inverse of that certain number. Parang katulad dito, the inverse of negative 5 is 5. So, you are adding positive 5. Dito naman, the inverse of 5 is negative 5. So, you are adding negative 5. So, parehas lang sila. Addition property of equality, subtraction property of equality. The process is adding the inverse of the number that you want to eliminate. So, we have here 12 plus negative 5. So, instead of saying subtraction property of equality, sa ibang mga books at sa higher math, ina-address na lang siya as addition property of equality. Okay? So, I hope that was clear. Kung bakit lagi ko tinatawag yung process na addition property of equality instead of subtraction. Because they are just the same in principle. Now, we have multiplication property of equality. Ito, ganun din. Ang counterpart niya is division property of equality. Bakit hindi ko ginagamit yung term na division property of equality pag nagdi-discuss ako sa inyo sa ibang subject? So, simply because multiplication property of equality is being used more often than division. Kasi si division ay derivative lang din ng multiplication property of equality. So, with respect to the operation addition, we get the inverses by changing the sign. So, kung ang ating given na value ay negative 5, ang inverse niya ay positive 5. Kung ang given na value ay positive 5, ang inverse niya ay negative 5. May ganyang idea rin pagdating sa multiplication. So, ang inverse ng isang real number, ito ay multiplication ha. Multiplication. Ang inverse of a real number, for example, tawagin natin siyang n. Ayan. The inverse of a real number n with respect to multiplication is 1 over n, or the reciprocal of that number. So, paano natin nakukuha yung inverse? Any number that when multiplied with the original number equates 1. So, si n, ano yung pwede nating i-multiply sa kanya na inverse so that the answer will be 1. So, the inverse will be 1 over n by dividing both sides by n. Nakalimutan ko siyang sabihin dun sa kanina. Ang inverse of n is negative n with respect to addition. Lagi tayong addition of inverse when we are applying addition property of equality or subtraction property of equality. Dito naman tayo sa kabila. If you have 20, x is equal to 10. So, in order for us to get the value of x, we are actually multiplying it by the inverse. So, para magawa nating 1, si 20, ito, i-multiply natin siya by the inverse, which is 1 over 20. 1 over n. Therefore, we have 20x over 20 is equal to 10 over 20. So, we have x is equal to 10 over 20 or 1/2. Okay? So, this is how the multiplication property of equality works. And this is the same as the division property of equality. You are applying the operation division, but actually, you are applying multiplication first. And that is multiplication by the reciprocal of your number to be eliminated. Number to be eliminated is 20. The reciprocal of 20 is 1 over 20. We applied the operation multiplication, which eventually led us to the operation division. So, kaya si multiplication property of equality at saka sa division property of equality ay same idea lang. So, most of the time, we use multiplication property of equality na term to generalize both. Okay? So dito, be careful when you have a certain denominator na equal sa 0, hindi nyo siya pwedeng gamitin. Why? Anything divided by 0 is undefined. So division by 0 is undefined. For example, 20 divided by 0. Undefined yan. Sa ibang calculator, ito yung lumalabas sa symbol, yung para sa infinity. 100 o negative 100 over 0. Still, undefined yan. Sa ibang calculator naman, ang lumalabas ay yung word na undefined. Dun sa iba, ang lumalabas ay indeterminate. Indeterminate. Dun sa iba, ang lumalabas ay math error. So, ano yung difference ng math error sa syntax error? If nakita nyo sa calculator nyo, syntax error, ibig sabihin may mali kayo. Kayo yung nagkamali ng input, pwedeng kulang kayo ng parenthesis, or nag-double kayo ng operation, magkasunod. Pero pag math error, hindi siya kayang sagutin, wala siyang sagot sa math. Just like this one, 20 over 0. It is indeterminate. There is no answer in the world of mathematics. Okay? Now, ano naman yung reflexive property of equality? So, dito, simple lang. Para lang siyang mirror, nagre-reflect. Kung ano yung nasa left-hand side, yun din ang value sa right-hand side. Symmetric property, madalas din natin itong ginagamit. When we are interchanging the sides of the equation. So, si left-hand side ay A, si right-hand side ay B. If you interchange them, given na lahat ng laman ng left-hand side ay ililipat mo sa kanan at lahat ng laman ng right-hand side ay ililipat mo sa kaliwa, parehas pa rin yung value na makukuha mo or hindi tayo magkakaroon ng problema with the equation. Both sides will still be equal. So, say for example, x plus 7 is equal to 20 plus x. Yan. Kung ita-transfer mo buong left-hand side sa kanan at buong right-hand side sa kaliwa, wala tayong problema. Parehas pa rin yung magiging sagot. So, we have here 20x, 20 plus x is equal to x plus 7. Parehas pa rin yung value niyan. Hindi sila nagpalit. Okay? So, that is what sara ko nga muna to. That is what symmetric property of equality states. Okay? Okay. Now, let's continue to the next property of equality, transitive. Ito, maganda to. So, for transitive property of equality, para ka lang may middleman. So, for example, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. For example, you have A is equal to 5 and 5 is equal to B. Then, magkakaroon tayo ng idea that A is equal to B. Okay? Meron tayong common na number, 5, or in this case, C, that is equal to both values A and B. Okay? Now, let's go to substitution property of equality. Lagi natin itong ginagamit, lalo na when we are looking forward to eliminate a certain variable. So, if A is equal to B, then A can be substituted for B in any equation or expression. Halimbawa, we have this idea that x is equal to 5. Now, if you have an equation x plus 6 is equal to 11, then 5 plus 6 is equal to 11. If you substitute the value of 5 to x, you will end up with the same value for the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Okay? Okay. Now, for properties of equality, along with other properties from algebra such as distributive property of equality. So, sa distributive property of equality, from the term itself, magdi-distribute tayo. So, how do we distribute? So, ito ay in relation with the PEMDAS. If you have a multiplication operation before a set of terms inside a parenthesis, then you are going to multiply that number or distribute that number to each of the term. So we have here A plus B, A times B plus C. Distribute natin si A kay B. So magkakaroon ka ng AB. Next, distribute natin si A kay C. So magkakaroon ka ng AC. So AB plus AC. For example, meron tayong 5 times x plus y. You are going to end up with 5x plus 5y. Another one, 5 times a plus 3. You will end up with 5a plus 15. So, sobrang dali lang naman nung process na to. Now, we are going to apply all of the properties that we have discussed before in writing reasons. So, kapag ka tayo nagagawa ng outline ng solution, usually ang pinapakita ko lang, APE tsaka MPE, di ba? Hindi na natin sinusulat yung symmetric, transitive, substitution, if we are going to make use of any. So, dito, 5x minus 18 is equal to 3x plus 2. So, solve daw natin siya, and then, magre-reason out tayo for every step. Pakita natin yung outline. Okay, kung doon tayo sa traditional, as in lahat-lahat, lalagyan natin ng outline, and then on the right-hand side, we have the reason. So, this is the outline of the proof. And then, dito sa kabila, lagay natin yung reason. So, we always start with the given when giving an outline of the proof. So, sulat natin yung given. We have 5x minus 18 is equal to 3x plus 2. Next, what are we going to do? So, we want to combine like terms. So, we will subtract 3x from both sides. We have 5x minus 3x minus 18 is equal to 3x minus 3x plus 2, right? And this will give us the value 2x minus 18 is equal to 2 by means of subtraction property of equality. Next, we want to combine like terms ulit, si 18 and 2. So, how can we get 18 to the other side? So, we have to add 18. And that will give us the value of 0 dito sa left-hand side. We have, diretso ko na, 2x is equal to 2 plus 18 or 2x is equal to 20. And this is through addition property of equality. Next, ano yung susunod na gagawin natin? E di, i-divide na natin both sides by 2, right? Giving us x is equal to 10. And what property did we use? We used division property of equality. Or, pwede rin naman na ito ay tawagin din natin na APE. Tapos ito, pwede rin naman nating tawagin na MPE. So, bias ako. Hindi ako masyadong after dito sa dalawa, SPE and DPE. But, if during our exams or during your explanation, you prefer to call them subtraction property of equality or division property of equality, wala naman yung problema sa akin. Okay? Okay. So, let's move forward. Ayan. Mas maiksi yung outline ng solution na pinakita ng book kasi hindi siya masyadong detailed. Yan, nag-aano na lang siya, nag-i-skip siya dun sa ibang mga parts na ipinakita ko sa inyo step by step. Yan. Pero next time, hindi na ako ganun magbigay ng proof, of course. So, dito, hindi ko siya ipapakita step by step. I-explain ko na lang kung ano yung nangyayari. So, again, we start with the given. Next, we employed PEMDAS. So, paano tayo magpe-PEMDAS? Unahin natin tanggalin ang parenthesis. Paano natin matatanggal ang parenthesis? Using distributive property of equality. 3 times 9z is 27. Of course, you have to take note of the sign. So, negative 3 siya. Negative 3 times 9 is negative 27. And then, negative 3 times 12 is negative 36. So, as is tayo with the right-hand side. After that, you have to combine like terms, 55 and 27. We have 28. And then, bagsak pa rin tayo. Carry over tayo ng negative 36 and negative 64. After that, we have to combine like terms, negative 36 and negative 64. So, tanggalin na natin siya sa left-hand side by adding 36 on both sides. So, we have 28z is equal to negative 28 using addition property of equality. And finally, to get the value of z, we have to divide both sides by 28, giving us z is equal to negative 1 using the division property of equality. Okay? Okay. Now, let's continue. Example number 3. So, example number 3, using properties in real life. Ayan. Ay, ito. I-explain natin to ng maayos. Kopyahin ko to sa kabilang sheet. Okay. So, solve natin itong word problem that is given in our reference. So, before exercising, you should find your heart rate. This is the heart rate at which you achieve an effective workout while not placing too much strain on your heart. Your target rate R in beats per minute can be determined from your age, represented by variable A, in years, using the equation A is equal to 220 minus 10 over 7 R. Ano yung gagawin natin? So, for letter A daw, solve the formula for R and write reason for each step. So, lagay tayo dito ng 2-column proof. Again, this is the outline of the proof. And then, nandito yung ating mga reason. Since maliit lang naman ang space na kailangan natin sa reason, dahil shortcut ko lang yung pangalan ng mga reason. Ganyan na lang kalit yung ilagay natin. So, we will start, of course, with the given. Ito yung pinakamadali sa outline ng proof. Ang mag-cite ng given. A is equal to 220 minus 10 over 7 R. The reason is because it is the given. Okay? Okay, now move tayo dun sa kabila. So we have to eliminate 220 from the right-hand side by using, ano gagamitin natin? Subtraction property of equality. So, SPE, or ang preference ko ay APE na lang. We have A minus 220 is equal to negative 10 over 7R. Okay, ano yung susunod na steps na kailangan nating gamitin? So, susunod na step natin, we are going to, of course, get rid of negative 10 over 7 beside R. So, in order for us to do that, we have to multiply both sides by negative 7 over 10. So, this is by means of MPE. So, dito, we are going to have negative 7 over 10 times A minus 220 is equal to R. Okay? So, this is equal to R by the use of MPE. Ngayon, may alternate po ba na solution? Meron. So, pwede naman na kung ang magiging sagot nyo ay ganito, I think magkaiba kami ng book ng sagot eh. Kasi sa kanya parang, silipin natin ha. Ayun. Yung sa kanya, positive yung 7. Eh bakit po ganun ma'am? Yung sa inyo negative yung 7 over 10. Yung sa book positive. Kasi po, pwede naman na ang ita-transfer natin using addition property of equality is 10 over 7 R. So, ito yung given. A is equal to 220 minus 10 over 7R. Ang outline niya, syempre, starting with the given. But, instead of transferring 220, ang inilipat niya, si 10 over 7. So, we have A plus 10 over 7. R is equal to 220. Okay. Now, for this, we are going to get rid of A. Ito ay APE ha. Matitira ay si 10 over 7R is equal to 220 minus A. Now, using multiplication property of equality, tanggalin natin si 10 over 7 by multiplying both sides by 7 over 10. So, tanggal na siya dito. Matitira na lang ay si R. Tapos, meron tayong 220 minus A multiplied by the quantity 7 over 10. So, this is by means of MPE. Ngayon, question ulit. Ma'am, kung ito yung sagot nyo, tapos sinasabi nyong parehas lang sila, paano po natin malalaman kung talagang parehas silang dalawa? So, algebraic manipulation ulit. So, if I have here negative 7 over 10 times A minus 220, if you are going to distribute negative 7 over 10 to both sides, you will have negative 7 over 10A. Tapos, magkakaroon ka dito ng plus 7 over 10 times 220. Ngayon, pwede mo ito isulat as 7 over 10 times 220 minus 7 over 10A. Factor out natin yung common, which is 7 over 10. You will end up with 7 over 10 times 220 minus A. Pare-parehas lang yung tatlong yan. Okay? Okay. So, move tayo dun sa susunod. Use the result to find the target heart rate for a 16-year-old. So, since wala na tayong space, kopyahin na lang natin dito yung formula natin, 7 over 10 times 220 minus A. R is equal to 7 over 10 times 220 minus A. Tama, di ba? Yun. So, ang A mo daw, ang age daw ng ating participant is 16. So, what is his heart rate? Ano yung ano yung heart rate? Ano yung R? Ano yung beats per minute? So, we have here 7 over 10 times 220 minus 16. So, please get your calculator and then solve this equation with me. We have R is equal to 7 over 10 times 220 minus 16 is 204. Tama? After that, let's multiply 204 by 7 over 10. So you will end up with 142.8 as the rate R or the heartbeats per minute required to achieve optimum, anong tawag natin dun kanina? Optimum exercise or optimum workout. Yan. Next, find the target heart rate for the following ages: 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. What happens to the target heart rate as the person gets older? So, ano yung nangyayari daw as the person gets older? Medyo tinatamad na ako mag-substitute. So, kayo, ano ba yung magiging sagot if you substitute this by 20, by 30, by 40, and by 60? Silipin natin. Kasi ayoko nang mag-substitute. Silipin natin yung tamang sagot. Ayan. From the table of values, kapag ka daw 20 years old, 140 yung heartbeat. Pag 30, 133. Pag 40, 126, 119, and 112. And what can we conclude based on the table of values? So we can conclude that as the person increases in age, inversely proportional naman siya. So, ang relationship niya ay inverse, bumababa naman yung target na heart rate. So, hindi na masyadong ganun ka-intensive yung exercise na nire-require habang tumatanda yung isang tao. Okay? Okay. Now, we are going to continue with our next Teka lang, medyo gumaganit ulit siya. So, this time, we have some examples of using properties of length and measure. So, for the segment length, na-discuss na natin to before. If you have any segment AB, it is always equal to itself using the reflexive property of equality. Sa angle measure, ganun din. The measurement of an angle is always equal to the measurement of itself. So, measurement of angle A is equal to the measurement of angle A. So, symmetric, um, if you are going to interchange the left hand and the right hand side, we have AB is equal to CD. That is equal to CD is equal to AB. Ganun din pagdating sa angle. If the measurement of angle A is equal to B, then the measurement of angle B is equal to the measurement of angle A. So, sa transitive, meron tayong panggitna. May middleman tayo ulit, si CD. If AB is equal to CD and CD is equal to EF, then AB is equal to EF. Now, we have the same idea for angles. The measurement of angle A is equal to the measurement of angle B, and measurement of angle B is equal to the measurement of angle C. Middleman natin si angle B. So, the measurement of angle A is equal to the measurement of angle C. Now, for the example, gamitin daw natin yung diagram. In the diagram, AB is equal to CD. The argument shows that AC is equal to BD. Take note, ang meron lang tayo na measurement ay si AB at saka si CD. Wala tayo measurement ni AC at saka ni BD. So, for the two-column proof, di ko na siya ita-transfer dun sa, ano natin, makinig na lang kayo dun sa boses ko habang nag-explain ako. We have AB is equal to CD. That is, Of course, the given. When we are writing the outline of the proof, we are always starting with the given. Now we have AB plus BC is equal to BC plus CD. So, ano yung sinasabi nito? So, for AB, ito siya, plus BC, magkakaroon ka ng measurement na AC. Nandito siya. Okay? Tapos, this is for segment addition, AB plus BC is equal to AC. Ganon din dun sa kabila. Since wala tayong detail for BD, we are going to make use of the segments BC and CD. So, BC plus CD is equal to BD, right? Okay. So, here, we have AC is equal to AB plus BC. Ito yung pinanggalingan niya. Ito lang yan. Ito, yan. Tapos may substitution lang tayo dun sa dulo eh. Ang magulo lang dito sa proof niya, pinagbukod itong dalawa. So, si BC, CD, pinagbukod siya dito. So, AC, bin-breakdown siya. It is equal to AB plus BC using the segment addition postulate. And then, for BD, we have BC plus CD. Segment addition postulate ulit. Kung simpleng proof lang, di pa rin ako naka-TS, di ba? Yung gagamitin natin, kahit wala na tong dalawa dito na magkabukod. Kasi pwede na siyang magkasama. Pampalito yung dalawa pang line dun sa baba. Paste ko muna siya. Hindi ko pala siya na-pause. Okay. So, dito, kung ako yung mag-solve, personally, i-skip ko na tong dalawa na to na magkabukod. Kasi nandito na nga siya, di ba? Pwede kasi na ma-misinterpret nyo siya that AB plus BC is equal to AC, tapos BC plus CD is equal to AB plus BC. So, dito, I will follow tong dalawa. AB is equal to CD, using the idea that we will start always with a given. And then, A plus, ano ba yan? Si AB, pag dinagdagan natin siya ng BC, dito sa kabila, addition property of equality, si CD, dadagdagan din natin siya ng BC. Or dito, inuna siya si BC plus CD. So, for the sake of representation, pinakita ko na dinagdag si BC. Pero pwede nyo siyang isulat, of course, nakatulad nung nasa book na AB plus BC is equal to BC plus CD. Para obvious na, dinagdag natin si BC and continuous yung mga values or mga letters natin. So, common sa kanila si B, common sa kanila si C. Now, let's combine the segments. So, using the segment addition postulate, you will have AC is equal to BD. And this is using the segment addition postulate. Ito. Yan. So, ito na lang yon. Segment addition postulate plus the substitution property of equality. Kahit ganito na lang kaiksi. Ano lang to? Ilang outline? Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Tatlo lang. Tapos na. Okay? Now, let's continue. Using properties of measure. Ganun lang din. So, hindi ko na siya i-explain. So, this is the problem together with the proof nandito sa baba. So, paki-analyze na lang siya. Okay, so this is going to be the end of algebraic properties of equality applied to reasoning and proof. Next meeting, we are going to have proving statements about segments. Okay, so thank you for listening and see you next time. Bye!